You're listening to That Home Loan Hub. I'm Zibuni Salimova, here to make home loans and property investing simple, smart, and stress-free. Let's get you closer to your property dreams. Hello, and welcome back to That Home Loan Hub. Today I have a special guest with me, and his name is Blake Sutton from Ridgeline Insurances. Hello, Blake.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
It's Monday. Good start to the week. Can't complain.
That's awesome. I'm so excited to have another Wellington guest here. It's so cool that people travel out of Wellington to little old Waikanae to record this with me. Thank you for coming.
Waikanae's a cool place.
Place to be. Yeah. Awesome. Blake, well, our listeners may have no idea who you are. So let's start with a little brief introduction into who is Blake.
Well, as Vanessa said, my name is Blake Sutton. I've been in the insurance industry, working for myself or contracting since 2013, 13 years, so it's been a while. I got into the industry through my father, who's an ex-insurance advisor, now retired, but we managed to work together for 5 years at first, which was really good.
Wow, how was that working with Dad?
Oh, it was really cool. He was at the end of his working career, and he's come from an era where compliance was non-existent, so it was a bit of a laugh. I was always told not to sit next to him because I'd pick up bad mistakes.
Bad habits.
Bad habits, yes, which became pretty clear quite quickly. But no, it was great. And it was nice to have that friendship, especially at that part of his career and early in my career.
Because I always wonder about it. Obviously, I've got a few kids, and I wonder if one of them decides to take over from me one day and what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back another generation. My pop, his father was an insurance advisor.
Wow.
So you can imagine the compliance or non-compliance and the way that insurance was sold then is far different to now. They used to have rate books, and they'd open up the book, your age, find the rate, there you go, write it on the back of a napkin.
Yeah.
This is a long, long time ago, right? So things have changed. So, and that I never wanted to get into insurance, not because I didn't like insurance, but I didn't know financial services. So it was quite interesting to find out that my pop was in the insurance industry as well. Obviously, I always knew my father was. Yeah. In some capacity. So that's me. That's Blake Sutton. I've been the last 6 years, I have been with formerly my business partner at the mortgage and insurance shop, and we've moved on now, and I'm running Ridgeline Insurance. Prior to that, I worked for 6 years contracting with a corporate called Lifeline, who are up and down the country. That was interesting. It was good to learn the ropes. I came up with my father, obviously, but also some of the mentors, his good friends, family friends as well, that were in that office environment. So I got some really good building blocks to start my career. And it was a pity that came to an end. What actually happened was Lifetime joined another financial service provider called Camelot, and we were sold it would be a merger, but it became quite clear quickly that it was more of a takeover. The CEO of Camelot would run Lifetime, but they kept the Lifetime brand. And why that didn't suit me, it was they proceeded to turn everyone from contractors, self-employed, into employees.
Oh God, you can't do that.
Well, not in my industry. I don't see how that would benefit me. And they said, here you go, we're going to give you X amount, and we're also going to give you these benefits, and it comes to this. But I said, hold on, who's going to take all the ownership and commission structures? So it didn't suit me, which is fine because it gave me a good motivation I brought my clients with me. It was always contracted that I could bring those, so that was very good. Brought them with me, met with a new business partner at that time, and it was the best thing I'd ever done, going out from that corporate to being on my own. And the last 6 years post that with the mortgage and insurance shop has been really great. It got me out of that corporate, but it's also time to move on. So and that's been a good thing as well.
There's a 7-year cycle. Did you know about that?
It seems like that, doesn't it? Yeah. So
refresher.
Yeah. So I mean, I've got another 7 years.
Nice.
Before something else changes, maybe. No,
I love it.
I mean, I've been doing the same job that whole time though.
What excites you about insurances?
Helping people. I come from an industry. I come from before working in insurance. worked thoroughly across the hospitality industry, across the UK, Australia, and New Zealand, managing restaurants, cafes, being a barista training, you name it, hospitality. I've probably given it a go once or twice. And that was more of just a way to get by at first. You know, young, needed to earn some money. And I quite enjoyed it because it has a very big social aspect to it. And I think that's what has transferred very well into what I do, is dealing with people.
You gotta love people. I think in our industry, if you don't love people, it's not.
You
can't survive.
I never could picture myself doing an office job.
Yeah.
Quotation marks for the
I love how you did the quotation marks, but no one can see us.
So, and that served me really well. And I think I couldn't do a job where I was at a desk and it was for some mundane company that didn't excite you, whatever it is you're working in personally. Because in insurance, I'm dealing with people and helping them to protect their financial futures. I'm real passionate about that, and I've seen both sides of that and how you can implement tailored insurance plans for people, which on paper, yes, it's going to be amazing what this can do. But then when you actually see that happen, what you've put in place and how it really changes people's life if the worst happens or they are faced with a major health event, it's just incredible. And it's because it really does. And people don't understand the full value of insurance unless they have to claim sometime.
Yeah, because that's the problem we have, right? People see it as an expense.
Yeah.
They don't see it as an investment in themselves or into, a protection into their future. So what I'm curious to know is, in your career, and looks like you had a really fantastic career in the last decade or more, what were the case where you were like, gosh, it would have been so much different if they didn't have insurance? Do you have one of those for me?
Yeah. I guess a good one would be, okay. So a good one would be someone they had a young family. Mm-hmm. They'd just taken out a mortgage, just got engaged. And by young family, it was
30s.
She was pregnant at that stage. So family to be. So the classic example of when people start thinking of insurance. And this person was close to me. So I knew the sort of person he was, and insurance wouldn't have been on his radar. But because I knew them, naturally we sat down and spoke about income protection, life insurance, just some basic cover at that stage. And we got it in place. I was very thorough with the application process because I know this person and there was a lot of history there. And it's so important with disclosures to get them correct, especially at application, so there's no surprises when claims arise in the future. Long story short, this particular person was king hit one evening. We were out having a few drinks, unprovoked, and it led to a major head concussion. And instantly he couldn't work. This person was self-employed, running their own business, and all of a sudden couldn't do that and produce an income. So all of a sudden, income protection becomes so important. So in this case, we managed to get his income protection paid out. He had a 4-week wait period, and it made a world of difference. And because it was a particular claim that the doctors said, look, you're going to be off work for 6 months, they paid out 6 months all at once.
Oh, wow.
It led to a 2-year claim before he could get back into work. But it was that injection of cash straight away went a long way for them to be able to maintain their mortgage and just keep up with the costs involved with starting a new family. On top of that, for this particular client, it led to another claim on his trauma insurance. And trauma insurance pays a lump sum of money if you suffer a defined major illness. In this case, it triggered the condition major head trauma. And I was working on this one in the background. And for any major head trauma, which is essentially some kind of permanent brain damage, there has to be a period of time before an insurer will pay that because they have to understand that there is permanent brain damage. So I was working on that one in the background and managed to get a full payout of about $56,000 for this person. but they weren't aware I was ticking those boxes in the background. They had enough to deal with. So I was able to give them that phone call and say, hey, look, there's a 56K payout coming your way. How does that sound? Yeah. And you could hear the wife in the background crying, all these little bits and pieces. So I guess to come back to your original point, that's a prime example of why I love what I do and how it can really help people.
Yeah. They just gave me goosebumps, my God.
And it's the unfortunate part about that. The unfortunate side is when you do have these discussions with people and then something does happen and they haven't taken your advice for whatever reason, because everyone's got their own things going on. Just because I say you've got to do this, people don't have to. But as long as you get the opportunity to talk about things, and you've got to take some ownership there, right? And where they have needed, say, trauma insurance and they've had some form of major illness, and then you actually see the ramifications of not having that financial support. So it goes both ways. Hopefully it doesn't go, hopefully it goes the right way for most people, especially the ones listening.
Yeah, it definitely brings home when you know that you could have done something. And then, as you say, if they didn't take your advice, because I had a very similar experience where back in the day, when my ex-husband was doing insurances, and we had this friend, and he approached them. The guy was a GP, and he said, look, you should be having at least this level of cover. And unfortunately, our friend didn't take that advice. And shortly after, he got sick by pneumonia, and he spent like a few months in coma, and then he passed away. Oh, no. And he left a lot of debt behind. He had kids, as well, and his wife never worked a day in her life. So she was hit by a massive shock because they were renting this flash house. They were living a lifestyle. Yeah. Because he was a GP, he was earning mega money. And he just opened a clinic in Live-In. There was a big story about him in the news when he passed away. So when he was dying, because he was sort of coming out of coma, he couldn't really talk much. He wrote on the whiteboard 1 million. And his wife saw that he had a 1 million cover. And she got like, okay, at least, something will be sorted. But when he passed away, she found out he only had like a 200K cover that he never upgraded, because he thought he did, but he never did. So that really brought it home for me, that to see how much his family suffered afterwards, like losing your loved one is already a massive trauma, right? Experiencing that. But then also dealing with the repercussions of the financial downfalls from that was a completely, it was just horrible to watch that.
It's quite interesting that you say that, because time and time again, I deal with people from all different backgrounds and financial situations, and quite often the people who earn lots of money don't need insurance. That's their thought process. But most of these people who earn more money still live within their means, and their outgoings and sometimes their debt is larger because it complements their income. And they end up with being in worse situations because that threshold is even higher. Yeah. So it's important regardless if you earn 70K a year or if you earn 400K a year. Just because you've got a lot of money doesn't mean that's going to cover you in those circumstances, because sometimes you might have a $2 million mortgage because you can and you can service it comfortably, but then that risk is even higher if you were to leave it behind a family or someone else without the right insurance. So that's interesting you bring up that point, because I come across that lots.
Exactly. I think it's also, comes down to our human nature. We don't want to think about bad things happening to us. No. We just want to have a good, happy life, and, bad things to happen to people out there, but not to us. And I mean, I don't know if I told you a story. I actually had a concussion at home.
Oh, really?
I fell off the playground.
Oh, no.
Swing. And sorry, listeners, for my coughing again. I actually should see how many episodes I'm coughing in now.
It's a running theme, is it?
Yeah, it's a running theme. But it was funny because I was swinging on the swing with my son, and then he got up suddenly, and I lost my balance and I went backwards. And it was summer, and the ground was supposed to have grass, but it didn't. It was like literally like concrete. Yeah. And I hit my head, and I was lying on the ground. He cried. My mum came out, got the baby. I'm still on the ground, like, oh, something's weird, something's going on. And I didn't realize I had a concussion until days later. Well, I got up, I wasn't feeling well, and And at that time, I was pregnant with my 4th child. So I had a lot of symptoms that are very similar to concussion. And the doctor sort of dismissed me. It wasn't until I crashed my car on the pole, I was trying to park a car, and I realized my depth of perception has changed. I didn't see the pole. And I've been driving the car for 20 years, and I never, ever had an accident in my entire life. And I just took the wrong turn, thinking the pole was a bit further away.
Yeah.
And I ran straight into the pole, and my mum was next to me. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I thought it was far away." And that's when it hit me that something's wrong with me. And because I was having these headaches, severe headaches, I couldn't do my job for a period of time. And I realized again that something was wrong with me when I couldn't do basic numbers. And numbers is my game, right? So when I was talking to clients, usually they give me numbers. In my head, it's already ticking. I know 80%, I know 20%, I know all these things. And I remember sitting in an appointment and I couldn't grasp simple things.
Really?
And that terrified me. I was like, oh my God. And in that moment, I realized, holy heck, if I lose my ability to earn, and this is my livelihood, right? This is how I run my business. This is how I make my money. What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my kids? And this is where it really hit home again, that having those insurances is super important. And luckily, I made pretty much full recovery. I still get headaches every now and then if I drive too much or if I sit in front of the computer too much. But I can imagine people that have it permanently.
Yeah.
And if they didn't have the right insurance in place to protect them. Because, people's assumption is ACC will cover me.
I know.
If something like this happens, but they don't realize that ACC only covers
injury and accidents. Yeah.
And it's only 70% of the income.
Correct.
And you have to keep proving to them that you're not fit for
80%.
work. 80%.
Before
right?
tax.
Before tax. And then you still have to prove to them every year, every 2 years or whatever, that you're not fit to return to work.
Yep.
Versus with insurance. Do you have to do that with insurance?
Insurance, you do have to run through claim forms every month. But the difference with ACC on claim, from my experience in dealing with my clients and income protection, is ACC seem to have targets which they probably have to work towards getting people off or working towards budgets within.
The government budgets. Yeah.
I mean, that's my
That's a good point. Yeah.
Whereas insurers they don't push you back to work unnecessarily, because then you're going to be back on claim.
Yeah.
So they'd rather help rehabilitate you the best they can with their means versus obviously whatever you're dealing with. So that's why most income protection policies will have partial disability. So if you are partially rehabilitated and you can go back to work but you can't work full time, you might be able to say work 20 hours, but then your income protection will reduce by 20 hours. So therefore you might be working half the week and then earning half the week through your income protection claim, sorry. So that's a really good way. That's where I think private insurance makes a big difference. And ACC is not to be relied upon.
Oh, well, we know that. I have an interesting one. On the weekend, I was chatting with this client, and she said that some financial advisor came through her work and gave them some advice, looked at the mortgages, looked at the insurance or lack of, because they don't have anything at the moment, young family. And she's like, well, he said to us that, a lot of people tend to over-insure, and they, instead of paying the absolute minimum, they tend to go and get something extraordinary, and then they don't tend to claim. So he suggested we get just health insurance, and that should just cover us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, who is this guy? I want to talk to him.
Health insurance is very important, especially more so post-COVID, right? I mean, you'd have to be living under a rock to not see how the state of our current public health system. And the biggest thing is wait times. It's just blowing out hugely.
Are the wait times less if you have health insurance?
Generally, yes. But even I'm experiencing with health claims, even in some scenarios, private insurance is get pushed out to what it once was. But public is even further than that. So it's still valuable to have health insurance.
Because they bump you up the list, eh?
They definitely do. Well, with the public system, it's a worst case scenario comes first. And with private insurance, it's because it's private, you just go into a queue, you're next up. You don't have to be worst case scenario first. So health insurance is super important.
So tell me, Sorry, I'm so sorry. Tell me, in regards to health insurance, for instance, if people don't have health insurance, but they want to self-insure themselves, so they've got cash, right? Can they also skip the list of public and
If
go
you've got
out?
if you've got enough cash to pay private, but the whole self-insuring, I hear that quite a lot in dealing with people. Who's going to be diligent enough to put away enough per week to actually compensate them? And how do you know how much you need? You know?
That's the bigger question, right?
Honestly, like so often, and we're circling back to the whole self-insuring and over-insuring, but you know, if a claim actually arises, what I found for a lot of people is what they have is never enough. You know, how long is a piece of string? Obviously, it's got to work to your budget requirements. You don't want to take out so much insurance that it's crippling to your other financial outgoings. So, but what my point is that it's if you actually face with a major health event, then you really see the cost and why that you need it. For a lot of people, what they have falls short. And where that happens even more so is if you put in a policy and you set and forget, but you don't actively have it reviewed, and you have a claim in the future, then a lot of people realise I should have updated that because it's great I've got it, but it's not in line with my current needs.
Yeah.
I've taken out a second house, or I've taken on a bigger mortgage. My family's grown. It could be a number of things. So, yeah, overinsured is definitely better than underinsured, but I don't think people really understand how much overinsured they are until they actually claim, and that they're probably not overinsured, is my point. But in saying that, everyone's situation is different, hence why you need to actively have your policies reviewed so you're not over or underinsured.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I had a claim recently where a young female went to see a doctor, you know, for routine smear test, etc. They couldn't really do it properly, and then they had to refer her to a gynecologist to get it done in Wellington. And because she had private health insurance,
Yes.
she could be seen, like, I think it was same week or next week they got her in.
It's amazing.
And lucky again, you know, the biopsy showed that there was something going on. They sent off the results, came back luckily all clean. But having that speed of being seen and having something picked up fast enough could be the difference between saving someone's life.
Yeah. Peace of mind.
Yeah. And I think that's what people don't realize, that sometimes by letting it go, she'll be right.
Yeah.
It's actually you're putting yourself in a worse off position because the body will get.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of insurance is peace of mind. So if something happens, you know that you and your family are going to be financially secure, so you can concentrate on what really matters, and that's getting better.
Getting better, yeah. It's funny, you just reminded me another case of when you said underinsured, not related to life insurance or mortgage protection, but
Yes.
I have this lovely friend of mine in Palmerston North, and they had a restaurant, and the restaurant burned down.
Oh, no.
And he realized in that moment when they went to make a claim, they didn't update their commercial insurance for over 10 years. Oh, no. So the payout they got did not really...
They couldn't reopen.
No, they couldn't reopen. Like they managed to get, you know, because I think they were leasing the building. So they managed to get something sorted with the landlord and stuff like that, but they can't reopen.
This is the problem with insurance, right? And I think I'm really big with my clients on giving people the full picture of what's available and what they should consider at a maximum. But you do have to balance it out with your outgoings and costs. It's finding that balance point for a lot of people. A lot of people do naturally tend to go for the lower premium, which I agree. But you buy a restaurant, you run a business, you have family, you have children, take on a mortgage. You gain certain responsibilities, and that's easy for me to say because I do this, and that's insurance.
Yeah,
and a lot of people don't. I get the attitude for a lot of people with it. You know, you might have heard bad claim stories, but I tell you now, everything you hear in the news about bad claims is generally relates to non-disclosure. And it's for every case that doesn't pay, there's probably about 20, 30, 40, 50 that do.
Yeah. And we get the statistics, right, from the insurance companies. We can see how many millions they pay out each year. and under different categories. And cancer is the biggest.
It's the biggest.
Yeah.
It's just so prevalent. And it's crazy when you look at those statistics across the board, even just from one insurer. I don't have any to hand, but cancer's always up there. And the second would be mental health. The problem with mental health outside of what people are dealing with, a lot of the time mental health can compound on what your condition is. You might have cancer and then the mental health aspect kicks in because you can't work, because you're suffering, or whatever it might be. So therefore, you're not just dealing with cancer. Now you've got depression or something else related. So it's so important to have these covers in place.
And again, like I can see how you can go down spiral really fast, if something happens to, like, honestly, not a big thing that happened to me, but God, a few weeks ago, I had like a frozen neck, frozen shoulder, went for a massage and it was supposed to be deep tissue massage to, relieve the pain in my neck and shoulder, but tore a muscle in my rib.
Ouch. Oh.
Don't know how it happened. But apparently my body does know how to relax. So case in point, that's why I work 24/7. But it was funny because I got up and I could feel the pain and I was like, oh, that hurts a bit. He goes, oh, sometimes it happens, give your body a couple of days to rest. By that night, I was in agony. Like really? I was in so much pain. And because I was still coughing, every cough was like
your ribs
getting stabbed, and I was like, man, what happened? Then I couldn't sleep the whole night. The next day I went to the doctors finally. And it takes me a while to go to the doctors. Like I never go to the doctors. So when I ring for an appointment, they see me straight away. They're like, yep, cool, come on in. I'm one of those lucky ones.
Yes.
That don't have to wait for like 3 weeks to be seen.
Wow, 6 weeks.
Yeah, well, I ring up and they're like,
2 months. Yeah.
we got an appointment for you, come on in. So I went in that afternoon and then they sent me for an x-ray. Luckily, the x-ray showed no broken ribs or anything. And then I went to the chiropractor the next day and they were like, yeah, you ripped a muscle, which is a really strange thing to happen to your body. But apparently when you get a massage, if your body's not fully relaxed, if your body tenses up, it goes, oh, something's bad's going to happen. Let's protect the ribs.
Yeah. Okay.
And instead of the ribs breaking, the muscle gave. So that's what happened. And I couldn't, sleep. I couldn't cough and it hurt so much. I couldn't do simple things, like even lifting my daughter. And that started to make me grumpy. I was like, damn, I can't do these things that I'm used to. Yeah. Even in the shower, like reaching out for shower gel.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I can't even do that. So anything that requires reaching out at the moment, I can't do with my right side. Oh. But if I try to do with the left, also not that great.
And ribs are a long recovery.
Exactly. So, yes, I've been told no sport for the next 6 to 8 weeks. And I need to be moving because my job is very stressful, and if I'm not letting it out in one shape or form, I know I get grumpy. And then my poor children get the brunt of it. And I was thinking about it, that holy heck, like those poor people that, something bad happens to them, how much mentally it does affect you. So, yeah, your point is absolutely on point, that you don't just get cancer, you get, mental health issues from that. You don't just get a traumatic event happen to you. It affects your family, it affects your earning capacity. And then and again, finances is the core of everything we do in our life. If you don't have the money, your quality of life reduces substantially. So I think this is what people don't like to talk about, but it's a really needed conversation to bring it home for people to understand of why we do what we do and why we're so passionate about it. Because we've seen so much bad stuff happen to good people. We want to prevent that.
I mean, to simplify it, insurance is all about taking away that financial stress. And that varies from person to person. But if you can eliminate the financial stress when you're faced with a major health event or whatever it might be, then that's half the issue. And you can concentrate on sorting what's at hand.
And the example I always bring, and I think I mentioned that in my other podcast as well, is for me personally was when my dad died. And he was only 42, 43.
43.
And he
That's
died
my
from,
age.
yeah, I know, right? Scary. I was 7. And he had a heart attack and stroke. And there was no saving. And my mom was 37. She was my age now, and to think about it, that she was left with 3 kids. And back home, we didn't have government support. We didn't have benefits. We didn't have anything. So for us to go from 2 income earners to 1 income earner. And with my mom, it was a lot of like culturally also taboo to be going back to work straight away after your husband passes away.
Got you.
But she had to. She had no other choice.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I've seen what lack of insurance does, 'cause we didn't have insurance back home at that time. But because we didn't have anything, we didn't have any safety net. When my dad died unexpectedly, we were left in absolute hole.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't want anyone that I'm dealing with that I know, if I can help them to have at least that conversation, then I know I can sleep well at night.
Yeah. That's why we do what we do.
Exactly. Like, it has been so lovely to get to know you. 5 seconds of fame. Where can people find you?
Whether they can find me online, LinkedIn, Ridgeline Insurance. Pretty easy to find these days. I just have a home office. That's all I need.
You're based in Wellington, eh?
Based in Lower Hutt.
Lower Hutt.
Yeah.
Nice.
But Google.
We do a lot of Zoom meetings and stuff like that with clients these days, don't we? Yeah.
More and more so. I prefer face-to-face. But convenience-wise, you can't beat it. People are busy. And, fit it in when you can. Teams, Zoom, face-to-face, whatever works.
And what sort of insurances do you do?
So I cover risk insurance. So basically risk has anything to do with your health. So health insurance, i.e. private medical cover to avoid public health system, protecting your income, which is arguably your biggest asset. If you can't produce an income, how do you pay for your house, your contents, your cars? Trauma insurance, permanent disability cover, lump sum payments if you can't work again or if you suffer a major illness. Yeah, that's basically the crux of the insurances that I do.
And life insurance.
And of course, life insurance.
Like, how could you forget the big
I
one?
haven't had any life insurance claims in my 13 years, which is a good thing. But yes, it's very important.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that comes along when they take out debt and have kids, depending on your circumstances.
Awesome. Like, thank you so much. So lovely
You're
to
welcome.
Have you today. Are you going to come back and tell me some more stories?
If you want me to come back, I'll come back.
Sweet. See you soon.
See you later.
Bye.
And that's a wrap on That Home Loan Hub. Don't forget to hit subscribe and join me next time for more property tips and tricks. Your next smart move starts here.